more than strength. Welcome to the first episode of More Than Strength. My name is Dan Flanick, and have you ever had an idea or an itch that you needed to scratch, or something that's just brewed inside of your stomach and made you toss and turn at night, kept you from sleeping, and until you finally took a step towards whatever it was that was eating at you inside? Well, that's this for me. I've had this idea to start this podcast for a while now, but it really wasn't until the last month or so that I've gathered the courage to actually do it. And it's kind of because for two reasons. And it's two people that have really influenced me. And the first one is the passing of a man named Chris Moore, who's a strength coach and strength athlete and a writer, and he also has his own podcast called Barbell Buddha. And Chris really shaped my life in the last year or so, just honestly by his words that he wrote and said on his podcast. And I never met the guy, but I wish I did. And he passed away about a month ago. And I decided that it's time to kind of seize life a little bit more. And then the second person that really influenced me, same thing, about a month ago, I started actually training her. She's a friend of mine. She's also a client of mine, and she's here with us today, and her name is Rachel Hesse. And Rachel has an amazing story that we're going to share with you in a couple seconds, actually. But I just want to give you an overview of what this podcast is going to be about. And what it's going to be about is feats of strength that transcend how much weight you lifted, or how many sets and reps you did, or whatever exercise you did or didn't perform. It goes a little bit deeper than that, in the sense that we're going to talk with and tell stories of people who have used strength to overcome some of the most difficult challenges in their lives that a lot of us probably couldn't even fathom. So with that being said, I want to introduce Miss Rachel Hesse, and she will do herself much more justice than I can, but here she is. So Rachel, please tell us about yourself briefly, and then what happened to you.
Hi, my name is Rachel, and I'm glad to be here speaking with you today. I was, diagnosed with a brain tumor when I was 15, just about 15. What led us to knowing that I had a brain tumor was I was getting severe headaches. And we went to a chiropractor, and he adjusted me, and I had a severe headache again the next day. So we went back to see him, and he said, I'm sorry, your daughter's in perfect alignment. So he kind of was the one who suggested maybe something else going on there.
Just a quick question. Did you? So how old are you now, and how long have you been dealing with this?
I am almost 33, and I have been dealing with it for, since I was just about 15.
So you went to the chiropractor, and then you decided, did you go to the doctor after that, and then is that where they diagnosed you?
Well, not exactly. My family doctor wasn't in the office the day that we were going to go see a doctor, so a friend of ours suggested a walk-in clinic, and my mom said, well, it doesn't hurt, I guess. I got to take her to see someone. And so she took me to the walk-in clinic. They did blood work and stuff, and he said, look, the blood work's coming back all negative. If she has headaches, call me and I'll order Spinal Tap for her. And so sure enough, I woke up early in the morning. One of the symptoms was to get headaches and to get them when you were laying down. So you get them at night usually. And I woke up early in the morning, like at 2-3 o'clock, with this pounding headache. And so Mom gave the doctor a call, and she was telling him, yeah, she has these headaches and she's vomiting even as we speak. And he goes, vomiting? And apparently something didn't click with him back when we said it before. But he's like, well, okay, instead of a Spinal Tap, I'm going to order a CAT scan. And don't need to, break any laws speeding or anything, but don't dawdle around and get her there right away. Because apparently he knew something must be up. So we went to get the CAT scan, and one thing led to another, and lo and behold, we were in my bedroom at the hospital talking to the surgeon.
So at that point, life just completely changed for you, and
Yeah,
I guess
it took a 180-degree turn. So
so after that happened, I really want to dive into the honestly the triumphs that you've experienced and the failures and the challenges that you've been faced with since that day that you were diagnosed with it. And I'm sure that there's a lot of stories, but is there anything in particular that you'd really like to share with everyone that was very challenging for you, and maybe some of the hardest times that you've had to go through?
Well, I'll start with the hardest part about having a brain tumor is knowing what to say and not. Right now, I'm very nervous because one of the symptoms of my brain tumor are forgetting things. And I forget a lot of things, and things don't come to my mind as quickly. Like, if I were still in school and a teacher were to say, okay, what's 2 plus 2? Well, you automatically would say 4. And I'd have to go, okay, 2 plus 2, 4. It equals 4. It takes a little bit longer for me to comprehend things. I do have some short-term memory loss that came with the surgeries.
How many surgeries have you had?
Oh boy, I was afraid you'd ask that.
Just a rough estimate. You don't have to go in detail with them. Just a rough estimate.
Let me think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. One major surgery where they removed part of the tumor. They moved about 20% of the tumor, and that surgery really screwed me up. That's where I lost my vision. Well, not my full vision. 50% of my vision is gone, and my eyes went double. As you can see, but not you at home, my right, let me see, right, left eye is drifting out, causing me to have double vision. And he messed up a whole bunch of, not nerves, things inside.
Things in your brain.
Yeah.
During the surgery,
Yeah.
one of your doctors messed up some of the things going on.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, and
Yeah.
that caused you to lose your vision, almost all of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it caused me to lose my sense of smell, which isn't necessarily always a bad thing.
Yeah, so you can't smell me right now.
No.
Okay, good, because I didn't shower, so.
Well, hey, I wouldn't know it anyway. And I tell you, the great thing about it is you can walk into the bathroom anytime you want. So.
That's more of like a superpower. So.
Yeah.
So, emotionally for you, I know you talked about your memory. What about emotionally and physically? Like, what have been some of the things that have been just really difficult for you to deal with?
Emotionally, I can't say I've gotten that emotional about it. The first surgery, the night before, I kind of broke down in tears. Because I was scared. And I said to my mom and dad, like, what's going to happen? I mean, am I going to live through this? I mean, I never even had surgery or anything before. I don't even think I was in a hospital ever before. I never broke a bone, never anything. And they were just wonderful. They said, you know what, Rachel, we don't know if you will make it or not. But we do know that your faith in God and your trust in him, if you die on that operating table, you go right to heaven. And we'll miss you. We'll miss you deeply, but someday we will see you again. And that helped me through some of it. But and one of the things I was the most nervous about my first surgery was, I'm gonna wake up, Mom, during the surgery. What if I wake up, Mom, I'm nervous. What happens? Like if I see my brain hanging out of my head or something. And she's like, calms me down, and like, Rachel, I'm sure you won't wake up. And the doctors reassured me. They said, yes, Rachel, we have a doctor in there just to make sure that you're staying asleep. And when I came around, my mom was in the room with me, and she said I was really nervous and frightened and everything, and she couldn't figure out why. And then she realized she still thinks she's in the surgery. And so my mom told me that, it's okay, Rachel, you're out of surgery. Everything's okay. It was kind of like, oh, thank goodness. And then I was happy.
So, I mean, I know your mom just as well as I know you now, and it seems like they've been just extremely supportive of you, and supportive in a way that basically they just didn't let you slack, that they've always kind of kicked your butt a little bit and made sure. So I want to hear about, because Rachel's been in and out of a wheelchair several times, and that's kind of where this is going to tie into the strength aspect of it, because now Rachel is actually strength training with me. And I want to hear from Rachel, and I think it'll be good for everyone else to hear too, is your experiences with, why you were in a wheelchair, and then what you have done to overcome the challenges that's given you.
One of my setbacks, well, when I first was diagnosed, it was a real roller coaster. They did the first surgery. They were going to try to do more surgery down in Boston, Massachusetts. At Children's Hospital was the hospital that I'm at now. They are wonderful down there. If any of you have a brain tumor, might I suggest that you go to Boston?
Casual advertisement. The Boston Children's Hospital did not contact us to give that shout out. Just want to let you know.
Oh, no. You can delete that too. But they thought they could get more of the brain tumor originally, and actually they had me up in the pre-op, and the doctor takes one last look at the x-ray, just to make sure everything's going to work out, and he's like, no, we can't do the surgery. He saw something that moved or did something, and he's like, no, we can't do the surgery without causing her a lot more damage. So instead, they did do surgery, but they installed a VP shunt.
How many times have you been in and out of a wheelchair?
That I'm really not sure on, but I can say this much. For the first 8 years, it was a roller coaster going up and downhill. I'd be going uphill doing therapy and everything, and then either the shunt would clog, or I'd get a cold or sick or something, and boom, it'd shoot me back downhill. We'd end up back in the wheelchair, and I'd slowly have to work my way up again, and then boom, something would happen again, and it'd shoot me back down in the wheelchair, and I'd slowly make my way up. And
so it's been a roller coaster of a ride in and out of a wheelchair. And this last time that you were in a wheelchair, you were paralyzed on the entire right side of your body, correct?
Yeah.
And so after that happened, so since then, what have you been doing? And I guess what's your mentality about overcoming, the challenges that you have now of basically gaining that motion in the right side of your body back, and the strength, more importantly, once your motion's been established. So what have you been doing to get stronger in terms of like specifically to the right side of your body?
I have been doing lots of therapy. I have been trying to use it like at home regularly, like to pick something up. Normally, where I just pick it up with my left hand, I'll try to use my right hand, even if it just like goes along for the ride. You know, try to use it and get the signal back and get it like, hey, she's lifting a box. We gotta help. You know, stuff like that. I've been working with you a little bit just
And
recently.
I want to describe what we do, because I guess I want people to hear it from your mouth that what I do with people, or what honestly strength coaches, or specifically starting strength coaches, do with people is not, it's not always just about lifting 500 pounds or being the strongest person ever. It's about, it's deeper than that. And I want to hear, I want people to hear from your mouth what it is that we do when you come in. If you remember.
Yeah, sort of. um, well, I was really nervous when I first went, and Dan was very nice to me because the first time I went, he worked it out where like nobody was around, so I could just be me because I didn't want to work out next to people lifting, like 100 pounds, 200 pounds, and pumping it and stuff. And here I'm struggling just to, lift my bare arm above my head. So it was really nice that he did that. And what we do is we worked with like the easiest weight that you possibly could, and we're working up slowly from there. We increased the weights however much he thinks and I think I can increase it, whether it's a pound, a half a pound, 5 pounds. We will increase it. He's working somewhat on my legs, somewhat on my arms. So it's.
And the motions that we do. So the first time you came in, what did we do?
Yeah, we sat down on a box that, you had to go like 2 inches and you could sit. But he was just trying that so he could see basically where I was at. And the next time we lowered it just a little bit. And then we got down to there. And the next time we lowered it just a little bit. And we're slowly lowering it to where I will go into a full squat. But it's not quite yet, but it's almost there.
And now, so we transitioned over to a leg press with her, and now Rachel just leg pressed 75 pounds the other day for sets of 5 reps.
Yeah,
And then also, just so you guys know, we also do some overhead pressing with her, and some bench pressing, and some deadlifting too. And she deadlifted 30 pounds the other day.
Yeah.
And so she came in, and Rachel, what could you do when you first came in out of all that stuff? Was it a lot? Was it a little? How much?
Like the
Weight wise and.
Oh, it was just a little weight. The lifting the bar above the head. Yeah, he took the metal bar off. He said we're not gonna use that, so we put on a plastic one, and we practiced with that for a little while.
But you've been happy with the progress in terms of you've been going up in weight every time, getting a little bit stronger every time. And I guess the message is that you don't have to be even fully able-bodied to do this kind of stuff, right? You can do this kind of stuff even if you have a brain tumor. So it's kind of for everybody. And I guess, what has it done for your mentality that every time you come in, you just get a little bit better? How does that make you feel when you come in and you just show that you got a little bit better?
That makes me feel really good. It gives me something to go home and go, yeah, Mom, Dad, guess what? I lifted like 2 pounds today. And the next time I go, it's, Mom, Dad, guess what? I lifted 5 pounds today. I'm doing great. It's not like, oh yeah, it went up, but it's like, yeah, I can do this.
Okay, I just have one last question for you. You got something else to say?
Well, I'll say mine after you're done.
Okay, I just have one last question for you, and I think that I've really connected with you over, and your mom, and what I think other people really connect with you over is kind of your relentless personality and how you're not gonna let this just beat you down. And you're one of the most positive, happy people that I've ever met. And I'm just curious, like, how do you keep that positive mentality, and what is it that keeps you going?
Um, why do I keep my positive attitude? You know, I guess that's just the way I've always been. Ever since I was a little kid, was just positive, go lucky, like rah rah rah, here we go. So I guess there's nothing really different about that. I don't know. I just it it has to do, I think, with yeah. I'm just
You're
happy.
just an awesome, happy person.
Yeah, I guess so.
And you've been able to keep that mentality throughout the entire process, regardless
Yeah.
of what's happened to you.
Yeah.
And do you think, just out of curiosity, do you think that getting stronger, whether it's through physical therapy or with me, it helps your mentality too? Does it make you feel better?
Yes, it makes me feel better because I could do all these things before, and in about a week's time, boom, they're shot. I can't do any of them. I couldn't ride a bike. I couldn't run. I couldn't do a sit up. I couldn't do a push up. I mean, yeah, we all might not love push ups and sit ups, but who can't do one? I mean, so that was kind of a challenge to know, well, bummer. I can't do these things anymore. Why can't I do these things, Mom? But to know that I'm getting them back and they are coming, and hey, who knows? I might even be 50 years old before I get them all back, but at least they are coming.
That's awesome. That's such a great mentality to have. So you had something that you wanted to say before we finished up today?
Yes, I do. One thing that I will keep up is therapy. About 8 years, maybe 10 years into it, I was getting disgusted with therapy, and I was like, I hate therapy and everything. And Mom and Dad said, all right, Rachel, you're too old for us to, crack the whip and say, you have to do this. But we can say that if you don't do this, you won't live here anymore and you'll be off on your own, and we'll say bye-bye. And it was kind of like, I lose Mom and Dad, house, the free food. Yeah, I think I'll continue with therapy. No problem.
Come on, it was the free food that was the selling point, right?
Okay. And so keep doing therapy and hope that someday I will be able to ride a two-wheeler bike. I will be able to roller skate and ice skate. And you gotta understand, my family we were kind of active, and we used to do water skiing and downhill skiing. We lived up in New York, upstate New York, and the mountains are just great up there for downhill skiing. So we used to always go downhill skiing, and I couldn't do them anymore. So someday I hope to be able to do them. And the way that I look at life is living it life day to day. And I just don't rush it. I enjoy it. And what my mom always says to me is that if you don't try, you surely won't succeed then.
That's awesome, Rachel. We really appreciate you coming on here and sharing your story, and I hope that everybody out there gets some inspiration or a little bit of motivation or just some peace, knowing that no matter what life throws your way, you can enjoy life day to day and find happiness regardless of the circumstance. So that will wrap up our first episode of More Than Strength. If you have a story that you'd like to share with us to possibly be featured on the podcast or a blog post, please go to morethanstrength.com and fill out the Share Your Story form on the Share Your Story tab on the website. And lastly, when you're at our website, please sign up for our email list so we can give you
the updates on our newest podcasts and blogs and some other pretty cool content that's going to be coming your way that we'll tell you about in a couple weeks. So thank you. Have a wonderful day, and I am out.